So it's just massive. OpenAI, the company that started ChatGPT, wants to be valued in their next offering at $153 billion. One company. So when there is a lot of money, it's not a bad thing. It just simply means that it's very hard to remove the fog and make people just think for a minute. In addition, of course, there's a race between countries, specifically between us and China on this issue. And when governments feel that a technology would differentiate them and put them ahead of the others, they pour massive money and power behind it. And sometimes it's guided, sometimes it's not guided. That's the world we live in. We're just starting. I don't want you to despair, because I think it's just starting. So for those of us who think, oh my God, it's too late, it's not. AI just barely started. When John McCarthy taught me AI in the mid-'80s, he predicted it will take about 60 to 70 to 80 years before it really starts. And that's just starting to happen today. We saw ChatGPT and all of us got excited 2 years ago. This is just the beginning. I mean, OpenAI's latest program, they claim, starts doing reasoning, not just generating language. It's reasoning. I was speaking to Hinton, the guy who left Google because he was very worried about what Google was doing. He's now back in England, and he does believe very much that these machines will advance in their decision-making capabilities so fast that we will need to put some guardrails. So let me now get hopeful with you a little bit about what we can do. It's hard work. Peace building is hard work, because this is about peace building. This is about, so when I started at the time with Jack Ma, the China Internet Conference, I got attacked by people in DC for a year. I mean, brutally. Well, how could you start something with China? Well, we have to talk to them. We have to be engaged with them. I'm not saying I agree with them, but we have to agree with them. Peace building is hard work, and it's work that will be, that will put any of us, whether we do it in a small way, in our work, with people we deal with every day, or on a large scale, it's hard work. It's always hard work. But it's beautiful work. It is, I can't imagine doing anything else anymore, other than trying to find peace where there is none. Where there's no love, we put love, and then there will be love. And same with peace. Where there is no peace, all we have to do is put some peace, and then there will be peace, right? You all know that saying. So, what we're doing, one, we're trying to gather a conference of the main technologists in the world who understand AI to do something like Einstein and Oppenheimer did in 1957 in July in Canada, when they gathered all the physicists in Pugwash, Canada, to basically sit down and build a framework for peaceful use of that technology. Same thing happened in '87 in Asilomar on DNA in California, so they did the same. Same thing happened in the late 90s on the internet, when Vint Cerf and all these people came together and created many of the institutions I had the privilege of running later. Now is the moment for AI, for a Pugwash for AI. And we're calling for that. We're working with a group of people in the Annenberg Foundation as well as the Rockefeller Foundation to see if we can gather this meeting. And this is important because we need people who are not so deeply ingrained in the money or in the power of government, people who understand the technology, just like what happened at Pugwash. Some ethicists who understand what this means, bring them together to have that dialogue. That is a piece of peace building we're working on now. I'm also working with Sofia University, one of the universities affiliated with the Focolare as well in Italy, to do something the opposite of that. So as much as Pugwash for AI will be a top-down initiative, we're doing a bottom-up initiative called the Digital Oath. just like the Hippocratic Oath. Any doctors here in the room? You've taken the Hippocratic Oath. We're creating a brand new oath at Sophia for computer scientists to take when they study computer science, so that they also pledge to do no harm with AI. And I already spoke to the head of Columbia University, the head of the president of Chicago, to see, is this threat being emptied? Okay, maybe another one. And we're going to see an oath across the computer science schools. I'm being told to switch microphones. How many minutes do I still have? 5, okay. I'll mention 3 other small peace-building things that we're working on. The Economist this week shows the rate of employment of software engineers over the last 10 years. Any software engineers in the room? Any people working in software engineering? Okay, a few people. I'm sorry to inform you, but the chart looks like this. It actually, and the point it starts coming down is when ChatGPT was introduced. This is going to happen across many professions. We're all kind of in this now, but it's coming. Okay, so software engineers are one of the first groups we're meeting, because I have a huge AI system at my company that we deployed called Petra. And the system has transformed how we work. And do you know how many engineers built it? He uses Claude or something like ChatGPT to build it. One person. I built a lot of software over the years. That system, with its size, 10 years ago, would have required me to have about 30 people. Law, accounting, a lot of the people in the middle who push paper. Have you tried it? I just got a report from the UN on something I wanted to look at, and I was focused on a few things. I dragged the report, put it in Claude, and I said, Claude, tell me about the intersection of these 6 factors in those 3 countries. Yeah, that would have taken my team a week to put together. So, why am I mentioning all of this? Because the labor market is about to be affected in a massive way, and of course we're talking about people eating cats. We have millions, potentially more than 1 billion people whose lives will be affected over the next 10 years. And there's very little focus on what that means. Not in our educational institutions, not in our government, not in our communities. We're kind of moving forward. And this thing is moving extremely fast. So we're doing some things in that regard. I'm working with a Canadian company that is the first to actually use AI to map all of humanity's skills. It reads everything on the internet. It has about 20 terabytes of data on us, and it maps each one of us. I bet you you're all in that database by skill, based on everything you've written, your resumes, your LinkedIn, everything you've done, and it maps it to a skill set. And then it maps those skill sets to requirements by companies and governments and people to try and say, oh, this kid in Minneapolis has all the skills he or she needs to take this job at Adobe in San Francisco. It does that in real time. And if the kid is missing 4 skills, it maps all the courses or the sources that can help them gain those skills. And then I'm trying to get the companies to pay for that, so the kid can be employed, conditionally on finishing these things, and they fund that. So that's a project I'm working on. It's huge, but it maps also people in Nigeria to the jobs. So anybody, if it's a remote job, they can do it. Another area I'm very worried about, and I'll finish with that, then I'll close, is the truth. AI will generate more content in the next 12 months than we have in the last 100 years times thousands. I'm familiar with that because I see it already in the amount of data that is being generated by machines surpasses anything we can do. So, how will we know what is truthful and what is not? How will we discern as humans what is it that we're reading and what it means? This is a very big issue. Even the father of the internet, the inventor of the internet, Vint Cerf, who's a good friend of mine, and I spend time with him once a month, that's his biggest worry. He said, that infrastructure we created is going to be the carrier of so much that people won't know where it came from and what it is. This is a big worry, and of course if you read the Israeli philosopher who writes a lot of books, Hariri, on this, he wrote very beautifully about how we will have a very difficult time knowing what's what. And it's a big issue. So, what am I doing about it? I just bought a small company that has some phenomenal AI scientists